How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. What's up with you, man?
Oh man, I cannot complain. It's good to see you, bud.
Yeah, you too. It's Independence Day.
It's Philippine Independence Day. It sure is, yeah.
How, how did that go?
It was cool, man. Just a lot of people posting, and I want to say there's barbecues here and stuff hanging out, but we haven't left the house yet.
Yeah,
So I think everybody's hanging out, just enjoying, celebrating history.
yeah. Are you allowed to leave the house?
Yeah. So the what do we call Guam? The the territory of Guam. Yeah, the territory of Guam is kick COVID ass. Like all in all cases, I think we've had a total of 183 total, 5 deaths.
Yeah,
Three of them were from off island. So the island did really well about social distancing. That thing's gone here, man. There's no way it's still here.
yeah.
So
But there,
everybody, there's different levels: pre-core 1, 2, and 3, 4. Right
mhm,
now we're at 3, so gatherings are okay now up to 25, and people are moving. People are going back to work.
that's good, man. But they're
How
they're
about you, brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, there's no issues here. Just dealing with the situation, trying to get, back into the groove. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, gyms will start opening here probably July, early
Very
July.
cool, man.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to get back in there. It's just not the same training, at home and doing your best to stay in shape.
Cause
It'll be,
man, you're
it'll be,
motivated at yeah, you're
yeah,
motivated at first,
yeah.
and then it just starts.
You you got YouTube and you got the TV in front of you, you got chocolate bars next to you. It's
The
like,
fridge
fuck, man.
stopped. Dude, and then the biggest thing is, like we should always be in shape and we should always be ready, but man, there's never been a pandemic that shut down the world. So when
Yeah,
when are we supposed to be ready by, So I guess that's
yeah,
for me, that's the hardest thing fighting. Like, man, I don't want to relax. Like when I'm doing rounds, when we're working out, I'm like, relax, relax. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Just calm down. Just calm down. So
yeah.
you're training at
So,
home too?
yeah, I've been doing home training, but you know how that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel.
So, just to let the viewers know, Brandon right now is in Guam. I'm in Brooklyn, but I'm also in New Jersey as well. So that's where we're talking from. And generally speaking, what I like to do with these talks is let the viewers know how high level people think, how they overcome issues and things like that. So right off the bat, Brandon, have you ever or how did you overcome a difficult obstacle, especially somewhere under stress or particularly speaking in a fight? What was something that went through your mind when you were in that situation in a fight or a stressful situation? What helped you overcome that?
Aside from the generic answer of martial arts, being a martial artist, always being in the zone.
Hmm.
Aside from that, man, I would say what has helped me overcome all the trials and all the tribulations, me personally, it hasn't been religion, it hasn't been some kind of saving factor. It's been all the people in the world that I want to do good for, all the suffering in the world. When I'm having a hard time, whenever the window's closing, the door's closing, whenever the door's shut, whenever I come up to a hard place, I think about somebody has it worse than me right now at this exact moment. What I'm going through right now could be so much worse than what's happening to me at the moment. So I always stay positive. Like no matter what the situation, people always saying that I'm smiling and I'm always happy. Because man, there's already enough ugly in the world. You have to find the good. And that's what I make myself do. I guess I've been doing this ever since I was a little kid. I just find the good in that situation. Even if there's none to be found, I bet you I'll find it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, I like to use that sometimes as well. Like you know, if I'm down on something, maybe even money. You know, if I don't have enough money for to purchase something, or I didn't make enough money for a certain thing, and things start eating away at me, I just think like, man, I could be with no arms and no legs. You know, there's people out there, and those people are like, they're happy that they're still alive. So what the fuck am I bitching about? You know,
Yeah.
I got my I got a beating heart. What else do you need? You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some,
And you know,
some,
I've been humbled more living in Asia because I get to see the third world side of some of the countries, you know. And
yeah,
like you said, there's people with no legs and they're laughing and playing and hanging out, you know, like nothing's wrong with anybody else except us for thinking different. So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that train of thought, Tom. But yeah,
yeah.
very cool.
It's funny that you mentioned that that you know, you learned that, or you kind of like started learning about that when you're living in a third world country. I came from a place where, you know, things weren't easy, you know, as financially, and we didn't have everything that we wanted to have or we needed to have. But man, it's so easy to forget those hard times when you come back, when you get into the good times. So I'm living in America, and America is, to me, is still the best country. I mean, you know, I've lived in a couple of different places in my life, and I don't think anything comes as close as the opportunity that you can get in this country. You know, like me coming from Serbia, you can work like a dog over there, but there's no opportunity. You know, it's just thrown under the rug and that's it. Here, you work like a dog, you can actually get something from that. But it's so easy to forget coming from that mentality. And sometimes, you know, my mom reminds me of these things that we were going through, or let's say my sister comes up with these things, I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe we went through that. You know, you totally forget. So you should always be able to so the moral of this story is, try to like check yourself, you know. And in your position, you're in the Philippines, and you know, you see it on a daily basis. Obviously with me as well, now when I go to Thailand, and I'm living over there on a daily basis, you know, you see different a whole different lifestyle. So yeah, it's definitely important to humble yourself in that way. And speaking of being humble, what about ego? Do you think, how important is ego to you, and do you think ego is important for somebody to be successful?
I think ego. Okay, so in our business, you have to have an ego. I don't care
Yeah,
how humble you are. I don't care who you are.
yeah,
But the difference between, I guess, having an ego and turning into being cocky, I guess, would be how you use that
yeah,
confidence. I guess you can be confident and help the world, like we're trying to do at One Championship through the vision of Chatri and Mr. Victor Kui and everyone that works at One, through all the martial artists. You know, all of our disciplines. You know, honor, respect, loyalty, integrity. You can go that route, or you take your ego and you let it feed you into a Conor McGregor.
yeah,
You know, and listen, both things have plus and minuses. Conor McGregor went from zero to hero, waiting for a government check so he could either pay the rent or feed themselves, to now buying a $12 million yacht. You know, so your ego is definitely necessary. It's something that you have to have. You have to have it in check, and you can't let it control you.
yeah,
And when I say that, you don't have to pick one or the other. You can flip flop back and forth like they do in professional wrestling. You can be a good guy one week and a bad guy next week. But you, deep down inside, as a person, not your Instagram followers, not what people think about you outside or what you're showing people, but you inside in your heart have to have your own personal ego in check, no matter how or what you're using it for.
yeah. I totally agree with that. As far as you saying that fighters have to have an ego, and you know, that's definitely 100% correct in my view. And you know, before I used to talk about ego, and I would tell people, yeah, I have an ego. I'm very egotistical, but I'm able to control it. You know, I'm not walking into like, a Thai gym with these guys that have like 300 fights, and then, being egotistical about it and getting my ass kicked and not being able to learn from that. I'm able to learn from that, and then continue getting better. So that's you getting your ego checked. And then also, before then, I would talk about ego, but people would look at it as like a negative thing, where I would look at it as a positive attribute. And then I had an interview with the guy that was interviewing me before one of my fights, and he told me that we were discussing this conversation about ego, and he had an interview with Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart, for
Yeah.
those that don't know, he's one of the best boxing trainers. He actually passed away, but he was one of the best out there. And the interviewer asked him what he thought was necessary to have to be a champion, a world champion. And right off the bat, Emmanuel Stewart said ego. Champions have to have an ego. And I mean, who better to listen to than somebody like Emmanuel Stewart, where he trained, Hearns and all these other great fighters.
Multiple world champions.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Our
So yeah,
sport, our sport, our business is a very selfish one. Like
yeah,
it's there's no way around. We can give as much as we want outside of our, I would say, camp. Our camps. But in camp, bro, I think I become the most, not angry, but selfish. It's all about me, my training, my time, and so when we're not in that zone, I feel like we should be trying to give back as much as possible. Because dude, we're selfish, bro. Like during
yeah,
camp, nobody talks to you, nobody hangs out with you, nobody wants to be around you.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I think we try to balance the scales. I'm just trying to balance the scales.
that. And it's not just fighters, but I think anybody that's trying to be successful, you have to think that way, and you have to be selfish. You can't let anybody from the outside come in and kind of like burst that bubble of your focus. So you have to be selfish. You have no choice if you want to get to the top. You know, but like we said, like we both said, you have to have that check, like the checks and balances. You got to check that ego, uh, that selfishness sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so when you were coming up, right? Did you think about did you have like a clear goal of what you wanted to do, or did you just focus on being the best at that time and that was it?
You know, the way you worded that question was absolutely perfect. I didn't have a goal. I didn't know. When I first got into this sport, I told my brothers, I want to try that. I want to see if I can do that. And that's kind of where I evolved from there. Wrestling and loving, enjoying the combat martial arts, and actually being one on one against somebody. That old school, that primal instinct of wanting to see, can you be better than the person standing in front of you?
Yeah,
That's what drove me, and I just wanted to be better. And brother, when I first got on the mat, coming from the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, I was trying to make the 2000 Olympic wrestling team for Greco-Roman. So I'm launching people all around the world, all over the place, and just destroying people. I show up to this jiu-jitsu gym, Lynx Academy, Lynx MMA. This dude, Nestor Bayat, I was wrestling at 200, 210 pounds. This little dude, Nestor, 135 pounds. Bro, he choked me out within like 15, 20 seconds. Man, and
yeah,
then he just continuously kept whipping my ass all over the mat. And he was little, I'm losing my mind. So from that day forward, I understood. I didn't even learn this concept at the Olympic Training Center. I learned the 1% concept that day. You
yeah,
only need to get 1% better, and a lot of people preach it, but man, if you just stick by that rule, or even a percent of 1% better a day, you're on the right path. And that's what I did. I just, like you said, brother, I just wanted to get as good as I could at the
yeah.
time.
Absolutely. I had the same mindset. People were always telling me, "Oh man, you should set goals. If you don't set goals and write them down, you're never gonna achieve them." I was like, "Fuck all that. I'm not writing
Yeah.
shit down." That wasn't me. I don't need to like have a notebook with all my feelings down on a page. That I just knew what I had in mind. I wanted to be the best that I can be in my sport, and that's it. And potentially be the best out there, you know. And I mean, that's a hard task to have, but I don't care. That's in my mind. So same thing with you. It was on a daily basis. Every single day it was work, 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 trying to make those small little minute changes. And those are the things, like, they're so small, man. You don't think that they're gonna do anything, but they do. And I use the same kind of like story or analogy with this one race car driver, Ayrton Senna. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but for everybody who is, or even with you, he's Brazilian, and he was one of the best Formula One race car drivers, and he had one of the fastest laps in Monaco in France, and
Okay.
uh, and I mean he was faster by like seconds, and in seconds that's like a huge gap,
Yeah,
right?
that's a gap. Yeah.
Right, and his whole objective was to get as close as possible to those corners, so he can cut down that millisecond time, and by doing that over the course of 4, 5, 10 laps, now you're
Yeah.
up one. Then the next one you're up 2 seconds. So those small details is what makes that big change, and at a high level, those are the exact little details that are gonna set you apart from everybody else. There's a lot of great fighters out there, but there's a very small few of, like, high level or elite level fighters that can perfect that timing. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of that. And like you were saying, I didn't really have goals either. It was just I wanted to be the best today and tomorrow, and everything else is gonna come by. There's no rush. So for people out there that are listening to that, that's kind of like the lesson right there. You don't necessarily need to have like a set goal. You can think about it, but forget about it. Just work on today, work on tomorrow. That's it. Everything else is gonna fall into place.
Just
Um,
grind. Just grind.
that's it, baby. That's the only thing we can. Um, so for the listeners out there, I'm gonna start answering questions. I just have a few more things that I want to discuss with Brandon, then we'll go into the questions.
Okay.
Um, so now the next thing that I like to talk about is people just quitting and stopping uh prematurely, or just quitting in general. How many fighters have you seen that stepped into that gym that were really good and they had talent, but they just kind of like gave it up and didn't want to continue the hard work?
You know, brother, this is something that I've been talking about a lot recently. A lot of people have been asking about this lifestyle. Everybody says, "Oh, you're so lucky. Oh,
Mhm.
you guys are so we're lucky, bro. Like we're just lucky, That's what everybody says." And then I tell them, I said, "Man, I've seen I've seen men in the world of men, from drug dealers to gangsters to SF guys to guys who thought they were big Texas, just men. And then they come into the gym. Listen, they didn't even get in, like, I would say that these guys came from other parts of the world to come train in the Alliance Training Center. This is when I learned a lot more about myself too, and this lifestyle that we live. People coming from all over the world with all these undefeated records, and people, flying in, and they know the next biggest thing. I'm pretty sure that you've seen this too.
Yeah,
These guys just come in with all the confidence in the world, man, and they come into practice, and you know they're tired the first day because they're traveling, blah, blah, blah. They're tired that week. They need a day off. Then comes sparring day. All of them, I've seen. I would say I've seen at least 30 people come to the gym. Sparring day doesn't go the way that they want, and now they're just broken shells of what they used to be. Like
yeah,
all of the confidence is gone, all of the swagger's gone. Like They don't even want to finish camp anymore. They don't even want to take the event and finish it anymore. They don't know if they want to do this anymore. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again, man. And this sport is very mean, man. It breaks people, not just physically, but man, mentally and for sure emotionally. So I think that's the hardest part about our sport. There's no one else to blame. It's just you. It's just you in there. You can't be like,
Yeah,
but uh nah, it's just you.
that's
So
got
I'm
accountability,
yes, sir. There,
and
you are accountable for your actions.
that's and the lesson in that for guys that are listening is just basically, let's say you do go to the gym, right? And I've been in that situation where you just get you're just out there with somebody who's better than you, more experienced, and they just know more. But instead of, yeah, of course, you can be pissed off about it that you didn't do well. But instead of saying to yourself, okay, fuck this, I'm not good enough, your ego getting the best of you, this is where you come in and you say to yourself, okay, what did I need to do to adjust? Okay, I remember him hitting me with that straight right. What can I do better next time? Maybe I could step back, maybe I can angle off, maybe I can slip. Okay, let me try that tomorrow when I go with this guy. And that, right there, that's how you start getting better. It's that simple.
Yeah.
For that are watching and listening. So it's just a mindset, you know.
And brother, the mindset thing, I had no idea. Um, I didn't know that people didn't dream big. I didn't know that people didn't dream huge. Some people literally stop dreaming at high school or during high school. They just stop dreaming. They just want to get a regular job. And I guess I like these conversations that we're having. I want to start doing these as well with other people, but people need to understand it's okay to dream. Don't listen to those
Yeah,
fucking people who've been trying to step on your dream since you first told them. Listen, if you and I would have listened to those people, we for sure would not be where we are today. You know how many
yeah,
people told probably both of us, "You're crazy, man. You need to do something else, bro. That's not
yeah.
normal. You might want to get your brain checked." Yeah, come
I
on,
mean, my
man.
parents told me that, you know. And
Yes,
sometimes
yeah,
they do it out of love. You know, my parents didn't do it because they hate me. They do it because they love me. But you can't listen to you have to follow what you feel is right sometimes, you know. And as much as I love my parents, I was willing to leave them, just leave them and never talk to them again. I mean, that was my conversation with both of them when it came time for them to support me, you know. So sometimes it's your loved ones too.
yeah. It's not sometimes. I would say 90% of the time it's your loved one. It's either your
Yeah.
wife, your mom, your dad, somebody.
Yeah. How important is self-awareness to you? And you know, like this is good for, like, let's say knowing where you are in a fight, or you know, when you get hit hard with something. How important is knowing that self-awareness and being able to overcome with whatever you're dealing with at that moment?
So I would say all athletes, all elite level athletes, I would say top 10 in our respective weight classes, each one in each division all around the world, are very self-aware. I self-awareness, man, and taking a shot during the ding. When you get hit and then
Yeah,
you,
I've been there.
we're trying to figure out what's happening, but the first thing we do is hands up, chin down.
Yeah,
I think all of that comes into play more and more, and better and much faster reaction time, the better in cardiovascular shape you are, I think. And the reason why I use the top 10 guys in each tier is because even at that level, there's still guys when they hit that, now everything shuts down and they just want to go home. They cover up and that's it. Fight's over. They're ready to go home.
yeah,
So either you have the switch or you have the shutdown. So that's why I was saying top 10. I think that the top 10 guys have the switch to continue.
Yeah.
Whether or not they have the cardio to keep them going is something else. And man, my most favorite example of this is when Sean Muscle Shirk, you remember him, right?
Yeah.
Sean Muscle Shark Shirk. He
Yeah. Yeah.
fought the Brazilian guy. Start with an H. He fought the Brazilian guy. The Brazilian guy probably knocked Sean Shirk out 3, maybe 4 times with knees as Sean Shirk's shooting in. So when he shoots in, he eats the knee and then is face planting on the mat.
Right.
And then as the jiu-jitsu guy's jumping on him, Sean wakes up and gets back to his feet. And he never got tired during the event at all. At all. He just kept going. And no one else has been like that guy since, I would say, maybe Dominic Cruz. But Dominic Cruz doesn't take shots like Sean Shirk.
Yeah.
So that right there, that's when it started playing in my head. Like, man, maybe the more in shape you are, the better in shape you are cardiovascularly, your body can recover better.
Yeah.
I think it's a theory. I don't want to test it out. I'm not trying to get knocked out and come back.
Yeah.
But that's my thought on it.
Smart move right there. Um, what do you usually do mentally when you're training and doing those hard rounds on the pads, and you start feeling that burning in your lungs, but you need to continue, because if you don't, you're just lying to yourself. You're gonna feel that in the fight. What do you do with yourself mentally to get you over that hump before that round ends, or the whole training session is over?
So aside from my coaches, coaches always pushing.
Yeah.
I'm digging, and I tell myself, I said, I bet you that motherfucker's doing another round. I bet you he's finishing up hard right now. I bet you he's doing an extra round. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I basically talk smack to myself
Yeah.
to help try to get me through it.
I
How about
start calling myself names.
yeah?
That usually works.
Bad 4-letter words, just screaming at
Yeah.
yourself. But
That's
do you say
all.
it, or is it just in your brain?
No, I say it in the brain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my trainer would think I'm talking to him. He'll fuck me up more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2 more rounds,
Yeah.
then you got all that energy to yell.
But usually what I've done is it's like I came up with a system, right? So as soon as I feel like something that's changing in my demeanor when I'm training, I get triggered by it. But I'm not saying triggered by it in that way. It's just like a trigger thing
Mm-hmm.
where it gets turned on, and now I say to myself, okay, this is where you have to work harder. So those things I'm talking about, like when I start feeling that tiredness or that burn, okay, then automatically I have to kick even harder. Okay, so I make myself kick even harder for at least like 2 or 3 until I get through that, and then I let myself recover a little bit, and then I'll go hard again. Or like, let's say if it's something technical, for example, like I don't know, I get teeped in the stomach. Teep is a push kick, right? And I don't
Yeah.
block it correct, then that's the trigger right there. Okay, now I have to be aware throughout this round, and I have to be able to block every single teep that comes my way, or anything else that I'm having issues with technically. So I just set those like trigger things, and that usually helps me out.
Very cool, man. Yeah. Very cool. My triggers. If you hit me, I'm gonna try to hit you back with the same thing.
Yeah,
That's just
that's true
the Muay
too.
Thai.
That's You know what? That's a good way to practice a new technique. So if your opponent hits you with something that you're not used to, and now you make yourself hit him back with the same thing, that's not a bad way to do
At
things.
all. At
Yeah,
all. Like you're forced learning. You're forced learning.
exactly. All right, so let's go into these questions.
Okay.
Quality is asking, have you had to deal with imposter syndrome and feeling not good enough?
Imposter syndrome.
So just
Mm,
basically not feeling good enough, or having doubts.
Ah, so I always have doubts.
Yeah.
I'm always worried if I did enough. Am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I fast enough? You know, these doubts never ever go away. But those doubts, like the ego, I keep in check to help me train harder or train when I don't want to train, you know? Those doubts, I think, should always be there. Once those doubts are gone, I think it might be time for me to retire because then I'm
Yeah.
not worried enough anymore. And everybody's different, you know? Everybody's different. Second part, whether or not I feel I'm good enough. I've known I've been good enough since middle school or maybe elementary school, hanging out with my brothers and sisters, dealing with bullies, dealing with racism, dealing with all the bullshit that comes along with growing up in the 80s, you know, 70s, 80s.
Hmm.
When I was having a hard day, I don't remember, it was either me or my sister having a hard day, hard time, and then I remember we looked at each other and I said, she said or I said, hey, you better fix your face. You're going to be just fine. You're a Vera. You'll be fine. We'll make it. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. And that comes from my mom, my dad, immigrants who came over and opened a business and made it work and have to go through racism and had to be called, you know, I watched them go through that stuff. So I think since back then, I've always known my worth. Like I've seen the struggle. I understood. Um, it doesn't. People's opinion about you really doesn't matter. It's how you're taking care of yourself, how you're taking care of your family, how you're taking care of your friends, people that you
Hmm.
deal with on a daily basis, not passerbys or uh, nowadays internet people. You know,
Yeah.
draw good times, bad times. I've never ever had to question my self worth. And I feel bad for the people, especially in today's world, because of social media, who have to question themselves and their worth because of likes and dislikes and messages and stuff, you know? So I wish I could share that with the world and teach people how to do that, but there's no easy trick on how to do that. You kind of just have to grow up.
Yeah. I think as far as doubt, I think doubts are a positive thing for me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think people can look at them should look at them as a negative because for me, if when I start doubting myself, that makes me want to work harder. So if you just start doubting yourself, have to work harder. That's it. And maybe not only harder but smarter as well. You know, so if you say to yourself, if I use fighting for an example, and I say to myself, man, my straight right is just not good enough. I don't know what's going on. I got to figure this shit out. Then you gotta figure that out technically. Be smarter about it. Throw it in different ways. Maybe elbow down, elbow up. Hit with these knuckles. Hit with the three knuckles. You know, you try different things and see what works best. See what the fastest way of getting out there. But that's what doubt does for me. You know, and like you said, I have doubts as well. Always, constantly. When you go into a fight, you have doubts. Before the fight even starts, you have doubts. The camp to make you work harder. So you always turn those negative things into a positive.
Yes, sir. And I think society as a whole now, but is everybody's too comfortable and not comfortable enough being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants everything sugar coated and rainbows, but it's not how life is, man. So when it comes at you, people are really unprepared and freak out when things do happen.
Yeah, for most, life is just too good, man, and people get bored, and then they start bitching about the things in life, and when they taste that lifestyle where they can't have everything that they want, and when things and you're in a war zone and you're escaping from a war, then you have a different outlook. You develop tougher skin, as they say.
Yeah, yeah, sir. I think that's what the world's missing. And I'm not saying we're missing conflict and we need worse things to happen in the world. I'm just thinking the tougher skin thing. I wish people we need to get back to where people's feelings don't get hurt so fast.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, June June Song is asking, how does it feel to KO people?
Oh,
It's a
it's
great.
yeah. What do you first? You first.
Well, for me, like I said, it's a great feeling. That's the pinnacle of our sport, or of the fight, is to knock the person out. I mean, that's the whole that's the whole point of our sport. I think it's beautiful to win by in a technical way, and I think that has its own place. But when you just shut somebody down in that way and you knock them out, then you did your job right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I think I think of those moments of the finish with with an impact finish, not a submission, not a like you said. All of that stuff's cool too, and I'll take any finish I can get, any
Yeah.
one of them. But when you're blessed by the gods of war to receive one of those or to give one of those, man, there's no other feeling like it in the world. It's better than the first time of anything. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. And man, it's an indescribable feeling that I really don't know. The only thing I could think of, if you took the collective world, how happy they were when they first saw us land on the moon and everybody's cheering and hanging out, that's how I felt on the inside every time something like that happens.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You feel a lot of power when you do that. Power, internal power.
Mhm.
Um, the real celebrities heroes is giving you props for, being a confident, cocky fighter in the ring, but then having a real heart away from the ring. So, having those two different personalities.
Thanks,
Uh,
Brad. Appreciate it, man. So that guy Brad, we actually met up in San Diego, and we went and did a tour with the Customs and Border Patrol. We did a full day riding. We got to see the horses. We got to see the stalls. We got to see all of their equipment. Man, we got to go to the fence. Good people, man, and I really like that guy. He's basically built pages celebrating everyone who does everyday mundane things that we take for granted, that we don't say thanks to people for.
yeah.
So it's like policemen, EMTs, firefighters. So yeah, good guy. Yeah.
Ray Mathsug is saying hi to us from Brazil. He's a fan.
Woo!
So hello. Shout out Idol from Jefferson's Kuya. Somebody's called
Yeah.
Kuya.
Salamat mga kuya ko dyan.
Do you speak full you speak full
Tagalog.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
Tagalog?
Yes,
That's
sir. I
cool.
speak Tagalog fluently. Yeah. I'm learning more dialects. I need to, but for now it's Tagalog fluent. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you,
Uh
brother? Do you speak your home country language,
yeah,
Serbian?
Serbian, and then a little bit of I'm conversational in Thai.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, I took
Yeah.
months of classes, so that helps out a lot.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, there's just too many questions here. Okay, question from Brandon. Do you want to rematch Angla?
So this is a good question. I've had this question before, and I've said yes. I would absolutely love to have a rematch with Mr. Allah, but I am not cutting to light heavyweight anymore. And
Yeah,
if we do this again, it needs to benefit not just myself and Mr. Allah. For an event like that, for what we put out, especially if we're going to face each other again, it needs to benefit both of our countries, Myanmar and the Philippines. And that would be something that I would want to discuss with Mr. Angla, and see if we can do anything that would benefit countries other than ourselves. And for me, I think that would be one of the nicest, one of the not nicest, but one of the I don't know how to say it, man. Like out of everything that I think I can do, I think this would be the biggest thing that I could do for the Philippines.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So I would absolutely love to. I would love to. But man, he's got some events planned right now. I have an event planned. I have a title defense coming up against Arjan Buller. So we got a lot of things to do before we get back
When
to Mr. Unruh.
do you have a for that for your fight?
No, I don't have a date yet. Do you have a date yet?
Nope.
Do you have one?
Yeah.
No, not
Sucks.
yet. We're all on standby to standby right now.
Sucks. Not knowing. That's the worst, man.
Especially now, man. You're supposed to know now.
Yeah,
It's
man.
okay.
Well, all we can do is just hang in there, keep training, keep working out, and that's it. Keep pushing forward.
That's it. That's all we can do. Just stay grinding. Make sure you're ready when they call.
That's all right, man. It was great chatting with you. We'll do it again sometime. Appreciate
Yeah.
you and your time.
Have a great evening, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
You got it, bro. Thank you, man.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.